All right, guys. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, everyone. All right. So let's dive into this for a minute, guys. Remember, this is open discussion, and we only giving. This is just for informational purpose. If you need advice from a professional, please go to a professional for professional advice. On open discussion, we just have topics and we just share our own thoughts on these topics. So if you have any needs of getting professional information, professional help, please seek a professional. So today we're gonna be talking about investment and into the mind of investment and open you up a little more to more understanding of how you can do things. But this is just for informational purpose. You can choose this information and then you can go and use them and ask questions from a professional. All right, I'm not a professional, I'm just giving some information that can help you to go to give you more idea of to the type of question you should ask when you're trying to invest. All right, there's many ways of investing, but I'm not gonna get too wide because there's many ways of investment and how you can invest. And as a person who mightn't have finance, but also for people who might have credits, which is important. Also for people who where some money comes around, maybe tax time, maybe you might do a job and you collect a portion of money one time and you thinking how to invest it. What should I do to invest this money? Or because sometimes people come across money, I'm gonna say money, few $1,000s, and they want to know what can I do to invest in this, to invest a portion of this. And by them they're thinking and wondering by that time, you already spend the money. The money already spent by the time you figure it out. So today is just for we to get into the understanding and different ways how you can invest. So you have understanding. So when this time come, you know the question to ask. All right. Okay. So there's many ways. Some people do not want to invest into the banks. Some people rather to start from scratch, which could be very difficult. Could be very difficult at times. I'm not gonna tell you it's easy. And it also take a longer process to get where you want to get. But at the end of the day, if you know how to manage, if you know how to manage, and if you know when to make sacrifice, and if you know when to compromise, and if you know when to take opportunity when they come by and don't allow them to pass you, because sometimes they don't come back. Sometimes opportunity come once. Certain opportunity only pass you one time. And if you ain't get it, it move on to someone else. So this is just for informational purpose to get you more equipped for times when times come and you feel like you want to invest something. All right. For the people who might have finance in their account, for these people, there's a way you can handle this, right? You have a credit. You know, credit is important. Even though we might not want to get into credit, having a credit is important because it can back you if you end up in certain situation. So we're going to talk about now, we're going to talk about trying not to borrow money as well. Okay, so now you have a portion of money in your account, saving in your account. What you can do, now you want to say, for instance, you want to start a business. Like you want to start a real estate. Let's go into real estate. Because real estate is a kind of, is more simple and almost straightforward once you understand. So you want to get, say for instance, you want to get into an investment. You want to start a real estate, right? You have the money and your credit. Your credit is good and you have the money in your account. Now, what you can do, you can leave your money in the account. Hey, Presbyterian Garden, how you doing? Thank you for being here. But listening, all right, thank you. All right, that's wonderful. Yes. So now you can have this money in the account and you borrow. You go to the bank and you borrow that money and your money is there. So now what you actually doing, you actually using that money to flip it. So this money is supposed to be bringing back, make a flip to bring back to pay for the mortgage, and also you get something as well that you could be putting aside. Now, it depends on what you're doing. You might want to rent, flip the house. You buy an old house, you flip it, and you're renting it. Okay, say that's the case. So you could use the rent and pay the mortgage, pay the mortgage. Now, sometimes it could be very difficult with tenant. Sometimes tenant mightn't pay you, and you got to find the money to make sure you make this payment, because you might end up, you could, you know what could happen. So now your money is still sitting there and you using this money to flip. So say for instance, now you want to sell the house. You want to sell the house. So now you borrow the money, you fix the house. Now you have the house on the market. Here where it could be, here where it could be a little difficult, right? Now you put the house on the market. You happy, you fix the house. Now the house is on the market and you waiting for it to sell. But remember, every month you still got to be making this payment to the bank. Because if you ain't make the payment, you already know, right? While the house is on market, you got to pray that this house can sell pretty fast. You see what I'm saying? Because the more longer the house stay, is the more you got to dip your hand in the pocket to pay. And meanwhile, it's interest you actually paying. That's what you're doing. You meanwhile you paying interest, right? So you need to get this house sell fast that you could just pay off the bank, everything, keep the profit, then you start again. You see what I'm saying? You see? So now, since you pay the bank their money, you could, the profit that you hold, you could go back to the bank again. You put some profit into your account and you go back to the bank again and you start flipping again. You start buying house and flipping. So this is a good way. But trust me, it don't always go right. Why? Why it don't always go right? Because sometimes if the house stay too long on the market, all your profits gonna eat up into inches. You see, all your profit gonna eat up into inches. So that's a way, but you gotta be careful. Why I'm telling you this is to open you up to understand that it's a basically sacrifice. It's risk. It's a risk. But guess what? Many people done it and turned into millionaires. You understand? Many people done it. And most of the time, a lot of the big corporation and big, that's what they do. That's what they do. Sometimes you might got to do that for a jump start to get you off your feet. Because sometimes you mightn't have the funds, or it might be so difficult for you to save. So sometimes that's a good way to do it. But you got to look for you got to look for, I'm giving you these things that you have an idea. It could be very successful, but if you're buying it to flip it, the longer it stays on the market, basically your profit will get eaten up. And if you're renting it, yes, the rent can help pay for it. And if you can back it up, it's also a good way. You see what I'm saying? So that's a good way to invest in borrowing. All right. There's many other ways. I'm just trying to give you the straightforward. I'm not trying to make it too complicated here. No, there's another way. There's another way where you can actually go at cheaper house in cheaper areas, right? Where you might be able to buy a piece of land cash. Because in certain area, you might be able to buy a piece of land for a couple $1,000, right? So this is an investment. You buy it cash. You ain't own nobody. All you doing, you pay in that mortgage, that tax every year. So that's what you're doing. You ain't own nobody. And you could start from there. The thing is, sometimes we don't want to start from that area because it takes too long. Sometimes we believe it takes too long to get us where we want to go. So sometimes we rather go and borrow the money to take us there. Then we start struggling to get these payments together. But there's people who do it and do it well. Okay? Now, so for instance, you might think if you start from buying a house that it might be difficult or it might take you longer than you expect. Well, sometimes you might be surprised. Sometimes you can be surprised because sometimes you could buy a piece of land or abandoned property, like the building is really in bad condition, but you bought it, right? Now, what could happen? What could happen that can change the whole situation is the area start developing. Once the area start developing where people start building houses, companies start coming in, your property starts skyrocketing. Now people are going to be coming to you to give you offer to buy your land or your property. Now, if you feel like, okay, I could sell this and go in a different area and buy a house. You see what I'm saying? So don't think if you invest into a piece of land or an abandoned property, don't believe that it has to take you a long time for you to accomplish anything. No, it don't have to. All it takes is some companies and new houses start building up around your old property, and right there, your value of your property rise. This is a good way to invest. This is a good way to invest because why? You're not going to any financial institute to borrow any money. This is a good way to start. And people need to understand these things. As young people, older people, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you can invest in a piece of land for the long term. Could you imagine you buy a piece of land when you was 25 years old and you own that land until you 40 years, 50 years? Do you imagine the value of that land? So this could be a life investment. So you see, sometimes what we do, sometimes we walk in and we making money and we happy, we cool, everything going nice. You know, the bills, you're making enough to make your payment. maybe for your car, for your house, your family, okay, because your job is paying you well, so you fine. But the thing most of us don't do is look for the backup plan. What is the backup plan? What is a backup plan? A backup plan could be start another business or start an investment. My thing is investment, there's many ways to invest, but you got to know what you're doing when you invest in. There's places you could give people money and they invest that money, but I don't believe in stuff like that. If I'm investing, I got to know what I'm investing into. I got to understand how it works. I got to understand the ins and out of it. Because, you know, you really can't trust people these days to. Yes. So sometimes what we could do as a backup plan could be invest in a piece of land, could be invest in a small, in an old house somewhere, something, whatever you decide to invest into. But you backup plan is important. Sometimes you know you live in, but you don't know when. You don't know when the day gonna come when your boss might say, well, you know what? I don't think we need you anymore. And just like that, everything collapsed. So we got to have backup plan. Now, investing without borrowing. I mean, that's one of the best thing you could do. But many people don't believe in that form of investing. Like, for instance, if I tell you you could get into real estate and build your portfolio to thousands of dollars in 10 years, you might tell me, no, how you going to do that? But you can. All you got to do is start out with something you could afford. Don't look at the 500,000 and the $1 million and the three. No, look at things you could afford and buy something, whether it's a piece of land or it's a house with a piece of land with a house on top of it. All you got to do is clean the property, pay the tax. What's going to happen? The house might be there, but at the same time, the value going to keep rising. Then land do not rotten. It will always be there. So it's a good form of investment. Okay? So investing by starting small could take you a long way. And many of us believe that's not possible. But this is real. Investing from small can take you a long way. Now, let's get back to investing by borrowing. Yes, you could invest by borrowing money. You can. But and you see, sometimes people might tell you, and you can't listen to people sometimes. You got to know what you can handle and what you can do, because people will tell you anything. They don't know your situation, they don't know your finance, but they're going to tell you anything. No, you might have a property, right? You might have a property that you say, this is my investment property. No, all you're doing, you make sure you're paying the tax, clean up around the house, and you have it there board up, right? Someone might tell you, oh, why you have it there board up? Why you don't just go and borrow some money and fix it? No, that might make you say, you know what, you're right. You're right. No, you go on and borrow the money to fix it. You see, it was there. It was there. You go and borrow the money and fix it. You see, if it's for you to live into, then fine. If that's the case, you're going to borrow the money, fix it for you to live into, fine. Because this is you at the end of the day, Whether you live in there or somewhere else, you will have to be making some kind of payment, whether it's rent or mortgage. So if you decide to fix that property, that's fine. But if you decide to just fix that property, go borrow $100,000, fix the property to rent it. No, you in a situation now where you got to make sure you put yourself in a contract where now you got to make sure you have this money every month. So now, what did it do for you? Did it make it easier for you, or did it make it harder for you? But you went and borrowed the money to put it for rent. Did it make it easier for you or make it harder for you? Say, for instance, you say, all right, you know what? I'm going to borrow the money. I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to put it for sale. Like I was saying before, even though you buy it, even though you borrow the money, fix it, depends on how long it stays on the market. Remember, you have a payment every month. And you know, the first thing you're doing is making payment to the inches. So all these months, the house is there on the market, and you're not making any money for, and you're not getting it sell. All you're doing, you paying the inches on this house. So all it doing is taking down your profit. So what I'm saying is, in this investment market, it's always a risk. Okay, this is why I will always try to encourage people to start from scratch. And if you could afford buying a piece of land cash, is one of the best thing you can do. And it ain't got to be 10 acres, it ain't got to be 50 acres, it could be quarter acre. It's your land. That quarter acre, you might buy it for a few $1,000s, and in the future, it might cost triple. So that's an investment for you. You see what I'm saying? So investment is a wide range, but I really don't want to go too wide. I'm going to stuck within the real estate, because I think it's easy to learn. I think it's very easy to learn, you know, the ups and downs inside of it. And there's many people who are very successful from it. Don't get me wrong. There's many people. Sometimes, if you could find a group of people, that's if you could find a group of trustworthy people with the same mindset about business and willing to invest and understand the process, that's a good thing. But sometimes you get in and join with people, and the biggest mistake you could ever make. So sometimes the simple way, the simple and easy way, is if you can start investing from small as a young person, now come out of school, owning your job, working, start investing from a piece of land or a tree property. Start investing. That can definitely take you to another place. I don't want to go too much because this is a lot of information, and I'm going to keep posting these type of videos that people can actually get some information from. But this is only for informational purpose. I'm not a professional. I'm not giving professional advice. I'm just giving information that could help you to able to ask more in-depth question about your investment. All right. So thank you guys again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And please let me know if you would like these type of videos. Please let me know in the comment section, because I will continue posting them from time to time. Thank you all. Have a blessed and wonderful day. And always remember, investment could take you to another place. Just remember, know what you're investing into and watch who you invest with. All right? Thank you.